Bear offense is concerned. Of course, that figured a little bit because of the fact that the Saints have a good defensive team, the Bears have a good defensive team, and you didn't figure a high-scoring game.
It'll be Russell Erxleben kicking it off for the New Orleans Saints. They acquired Tony Fritsch for their field goals and extra points. Former Houston Oiler. You'll see Dennis Gentry, but Erxleben has traditionally kicked the ball off until they drafted Morton Anderson this year, and Anderson got hurt in the opening kickoff last week against St. Louis. Ricky Watts will bring it up for the Bears from inside his 5, and he's got some room up the middle. Watts gets over the 25 to the 26-yard line. So the Bears will start from there, and they trail only 7-0, and it is going to be Jim McMahon, number 9. The number 1 draft choice from Brigham Young University, and that gets a big roar of appreciative applause from the fans here at Soldier Field. 6 feet, 187 pounds, a 23-year-old rookie, and certainly the hope of the future at quarterback for the Chicago Bears.
Well, he obviously has all the right instincts. When you set 55 NCAA records and some of the things that he did during the exhibition season, you can tell that he has the instincts. It's just a matter of gaining the experience.
Short drop and a completion to Baschnagel, and Baschnagel batters through a pair of tacklers for a first down. Johnny Poe finally pulled him down, but Dirk Winston, number 56, made the initial hit. Good effort by Baschnagel. McMahon took a few raps in the preseason, physical raps, when he was sacked, and did injure his shoulder somewhat. Also has favored a knee injury, and Mike Ditka told us before last week's game that he wasn't 100% in the throwing department. He really wanted him to be before he got him into action, so presumably this past week he's been throwing the ball better and feeling better.
One remaining back, Payton in.
2 tight ends are in, Moorhead and Brooks Williams. The pitch out to Payton. Payton behind Van Horn and picks up about 7, maybe 8 yards on the play before Dave Waymer forced him out. See where they spotted here, and it may be a little shorter gain where he was stepped out of bounds. It's a 6-yard gain, 2nd and 4.
Well, on that one play, he gained half of what he gained the entire first half, so maybe we'll see some yardage out of Walter Payton. Jim McMahon, you said he had the sore arm. He also has a sore knee. And he only has no depth perception in one eye, but he does okay.
I guess so. He wouldn't be here. McKinley and Van Horn the tackles, Williams and Jackson the guards, and Daniel the center trying to protect the rookie quarterback. Walter Payton is dropped right at the line of scrimmage by Dennis Winston and picked up a yard maybe with forward progress. So it'll be 3rd down and 3 yards to go for a first down. Suey starts in, and now Brooks Williams goes in, presumably bringing the play in, and Earl comes out. Now Suey comes on the field.
McMahon, when I asked him about his depth perception, he says, I can't see beyond 100 yards, but I don't usually have to see that far.
It's a fair response.
Payton is out.
Payton is out. Suey is in as the lone setback. 3rd down and 3. McMahon is dropped by Whitney Paul. Blitzing from the left side. The extra linebacker the Saints send in for just that duty, and he comes up with the defensive play. So the Bears will have to punt.
Well, the Saints went into their special defense, and Whitney Paul made it go. Let's see how the Bears block the blitz. There's Emory Moorhead, 87, blocking on Whitney Paul, and that's not one of his better blocks. Emory Moorhead has been blocking very well throughout the exhibition season early, but here Whitney Paul got by him, and McMahon was forced out of the pocket, could not get the ball away.
Parsons to punt. With Grote waiting for it at the 27-yard line of New Orleans. Parsons, low line drive. He gets some good mileage out of it, backing Grote up to the 20. Grote gets away from the first set of tacklers and then goes down at the 28-yard line. Dropped there by Otis Wilson. 44-yard punt and 8-yard return.
There'll be no question who's going to be the quarterback for New Orleans.
No, that's for sure. Ken Stabler will continue. Guido Merkins, former wide receiver and defensive back, is the backup to Stabler. Roger Merkins was a quarterback at Sam Houston. in his college days. Next week on CBS Sports, the Dallas Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings. A big game. Check your local listings for the times in your area. And that's, of course, if there are games played next week. It is Wayne Wilson. Wayne Wilson picking up a couple to the 30-yard line, and Wachter and Wilson in on the tackle. Some of you will see the Bears at San Francisco next week.
Well, I'm sure the Bears wouldn't want to be 0-2 going out to play the 49ers in their own home den, so this has got to be a big game for Mike Ditka and the Chicago Bears. Of course, just as big for New Orleans. They don't want to be 0-2.
2nd and 8. Flat formation right for the Saints in the pro set. Toussaint Tattle, number 42, and he is mowed down behind the line of scrimmage with Dan Hampton. Again, just bowling his way between blockers. Singletary following in right behind him and getting in on the action. No gain on the play. 3rd down for the Saints.
You know, the Bears now coming in with their special defense. They'll have all those defensive backs, and this is a perfect situation where Buddy Ryan likes to bring everybody in. But, you know, the defense hasn't done that much against Stabler. They respect his ability to pick apart that blitz and hit the open man quickly.
They got Bensick and Henderson way back, expecting pass and getting it, and a hit on Thompson by Reuben Henderson, but he may have the 1st down yardage.
It's going to be very, very close.
Thompson got one-on-one with the cornerback Henderson. Came out over the yardage needed for the 1st down, but went back to catch the ball against the coverage of Henderson and may have surrendered the 1st down by doing so, but they will measure. 7-0. Saints lead it. We're in the 3rd period, 11:01 remaining. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris at Chicago's Soldier Field.
It's a little short.
About a foot remaining for the Saints, and the punting unit comes on the field.
There's Bum Phillips without his hat, outside too.
That's right. Well, he's not happy with that at all. As Thompson had the yardage, and when he came back to catch the ball, he had given up the foot necessary to get the 1st down.
A lot of that is judgment by the official as to how much he came back and then how much he was pulled back there.
Good point.
I actually thought he was a little farther than that. Thought he had a 1st down.
That is a good point, Johnny. So it'll be Erxleben in to punt. The line of scrimmage at the New Orleans 38. Dennis Gentry, Auburn rookie, back at the 20-yard line of the Bears. We haven't really seen this youngster run with the football yet, but believe me, he can and he will as a Chicago Bear. He'll be an outstanding back. Erxleben really nails one. High and long. Back at the 5-yard line, Gentry. Gentry dipsy-doodling, gets to the 10 and no farther. Huge punt by Erxleben, 58 yards, and a 5-yard return for Dennis Gentry. Scott Pallure made the tackle, and the Bears will start from their 10 when we return.
Someday.
Today, as the Bears try to generate some offense. Wide right is Bashnagel, left is Marjorie. McMahon up the middle to the tight end, Moorhead. Ball a little bit low, and Moorhead could not hold on. He was open.
If he had caught that ball, he would have turned upfield and gone all the way.
Robin Earl coming in, presumably with the play for McMahon on 2nd down. Saints defensively, Bruce Clark, Derlin Moore, Frank Warren, Jim Wilkes, the normal starter at right end, out with an injury today. Jackson, Kovach, Winston, and Nair, the linebackers. Waymer, Gary, Watlett, and Poe, the secondary for the Saints.
We'll have to see how much they try in the blitz. When you have a young quarterback, a lot of teams will come off that 3-4 and bring those linebackers right up the middle many times.
They got Rob Nair lined up right on the line of scrimmage.
There they come.
And it's complete to Robin Earl. So presence of mind by McMahon. And picking out Robin Earl for a 1st down, with Russell Gary making the tackle. But the Bears move it on up to their own 29-yard line.
Smooth play by McMahon, because that's exactly what the Saints did. They put the blitz on, and Robin Earl down and out, as Gary's on the coverage. Just a little simple move to the inside. He got him turned a little bit, and the pass was right on the dime under pressure. And first down, Chicago.
Whitney Paul in at linebacker for Ricky Jackson on first down. Paul with the rush on again. And McMahon with protection hits Moorhead. And Moorhead is close to another first down. Waymer with the initial hit. And then Watlet and Kovac pulling him down.
An excellent block by Walter Payton back there in the backfield. He took Whitney Paul and cut him down to give McMahon the time.
That is the key. Not so simple, but always the key.
And boy, was he open. Everybody had dropped off, and the man from Chicago, from Evanston. Okay, let's take a look at what happens here as Winston goes right up the middle and gets jammed up there by number 65, Noah Jackson, with an excellent block.
First down for the Bears. Rolling out, McMahon away from Whitney Paul. And nobody open downfield, so he takes it out of bounds. Forced out by Bruce Clark.
Now, Whitney Paul thought he had him dead to rights in the backfield, but this is what we're talking about, instinct. Did you notice that little move McMahon put on at the last second? He could feel the blitz. He could feel the man coming. He just made a little sidestep.
Yes, he did. I also like what he's doing now. He ran right at the coach, Mike Ditka.
And got the play.
He got the play from him right at the sideline. That's just some presence of mind. And he goes back in now with the play call. Loss of about 4 yards on the play. Reggie Lewis is in for the pass rush here on second down. The New Orleans Saints back to the Canadian Football League. Signed as a free agent in a force. Drop play to Suey. Suey runs into traffic, gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Clark and Kovac stack him up there. It'll be third down and about 9 for the Bears. Moorhead brings the play in to young Jim McMahon. Henry Moorhead, Mike Ditka's personal project at tight end, a former running back, wide receiver out of Colorado, and has been turned into a tight end, joining Robin Earl and Brooks Williams in that department.
We haven't seen too much of Ricky Jackson the past few plays either. Whitney Paul's been in there quite a bit on these passing situations.
Nickel defense in for the Saints with Hurley out of the shotgun. McMahon up the middle to Payton. He's wide open. Payton first down to the 38-yard line of New Orleans. Johnny Poe and Rob Nairn make the tackle over there. A 21-yard gain. You sure like to try and get the ball to that guy in the open field.
Well, that's one of the few times that the Bears have done that, where Payton actually catches the ball in stride. Most of the short passing game for the Bears has been backs out in the flat. You don't get a chance to turn around. Excellent blocking. Noah Jackson, number 65, can't find anybody to block. And there's Payton catching the ball on the run. Whitney Paul had a tough job to cover him down the field. And finally, Nairn is in on it, and Russell Gary to bring Payton down. First down.
4 out of 5 for 63 yards. McMahon has got time again, and it is intercepted. Dennis Winston, perfectly timed interception. The ball intended for Ken Marjoram. Bashnagle was also there, but Winston seemed to have a bead on that ball from the time McMahon looked downfield. The veteran linebacker has stopped the Bears' drive.
A great play. There might have been interference. Brian Bashnagle was really knocked down here. Watch Bashnagle, 84, being knocked down after the pass is in the air. However, he was not the intended receiver. Winston comes up with a great interception that stops the Bear drive. The Saints seem to be coming up with the big ones when they need them.
7:19 remaining, third period. It is still the Saints 7, the Bears nothing.
There's offensive line coach Dick Stanfill, who used to coach for the Saints.
Talking to Avellini and McMahon. Now Kenny Stabler's gone all the way for the Saints to Wayne Wilson, who's having a fine afternoon, and Wilson batters his way for about 9. Wayne Wilson trying to fill the shoes of George Rogers, who's out for another 2 or 3 weeks at least with a severe hamstring pull. Reuben Henderson making the tackle on Wilson, the 4-year man from Shepherd College. I don't imagine there are too many NFL players from Shepherd College in West Virginia. He's got 88 yards on 22 carries. Second and a long yard for the Saints. Most of their running success has been straight ahead. This is Tucson Tyler, and he has nowhere to go, trying to get off tackle. Ball comes loose, but play had been whistled dead. Mike Hartenstein, number 73, put the hit on it. So here's another look at that interception by Winston. Now watch
Bashnickel, 84, gets hit by Waymer, and then comes the interception. The ball was in the air, and Bashnickel was certainly in the air. You don't know who's going to catch the ball, so it's past history now.
You might even wonder about whether they ran their patterns correctly. They were both there in about the same receiving area, Marjoram and Bashnickel. Third down for the Saints. And 3. They have 6 pass defenders in. The Bears do, and Stabler, a quick one, and he's got the yardage. A nice play to Jeff Groth. Wide receiver just popping out there for a little look-in pass. Fisher brought him down. The Saints had the first down.
Well, that's what makes Kenny Stabler great. He just goes back. He's looking down the field all the way. I think that might have been an audible call as he dropped back pedals and just throws it. As soon as Groth came open over the middle, Jeff Fisher had to make the tackle. Big play. It gives the Saints another first down. Jeff Fisher, 24 on the tackle.
Ball at the 32-yard line of New Orleans. 5:39 remaining third period. New Orleans leads at 7-0 on a Stabler touchdown pass to Larry Hardy. The opening series of the game. Stabler trying to get deep. He's got a one-on-one over here, and it's complete. Andre Thompson got one-on-one against Gary Fensick, or was it Schmidt?
Terry Schmidt.
Terry Schmidt, the quarterback. And a big play for the Saints. Andre Thompson, a 48-yard gain for the ex-Packer.
Okay, Terry Schmidt, number 44 in the coverage. He's just going down the field. This was the pass called in the huddle, and he said just run, and Stabler was going to put it up. Now, Schmidt is on the coverage, but Thompson puts a little bump to him there and spotted the ball first. He looked first, and he knows where it is first, and it always happens that way. The offensive receiver seems to spot the ball coming, turns his head first.
First down for New Orleans at the Bears' 21-yard line. One setback is Wilson. They give it to him. Wilson taking it behind the guard, Oubre, for a gain of about 3 before Steve McMichael made the tackle on him. McMichael in for the injured Jim Osborne, who went down with a leg injury in the first half. We haven't seen him back yet.
You got to give the Saints credit for getting a man-to-man situation. If you can dictate or make sure that you're going to get a man-for-man situation, anytime you have 2 men going for a ball, an offender and a defender, the offensive man always has the advantage.
Well, talking of Osborne, he's just gone into the game for the Bears on second down for the Saints. So Osborne apparently all right. Wilson trying to cut it back to the left. Nowhere to go. Bears really got off the line defensively. Bruce Herron, the linebacker, number 51, made the tackle behind the line of scrimmage. And it'll be probably no gain, maybe a loss of a half yard. Wachter comes back in, and Osborne comes out. Buddy Ryan changing up the defense at every down as usual. Third down now. The Saints at the Bears' 17-yard line in scoring position, but they must convert the third down or put it in the end zone. 2 wide receivers.
Blitz.
Back Wilson. Here comes the blitz, and Stabler gets it off complete. Andre Thompson to the 10-yard line. He's short of the first down. Stabler was really wrapped on the play. A flag is down as well.
That was Todd Bell that hit him from the backside. Stabler never saw him coming. And there's going to be a penalty against New Orleans, it appears. But Stabler did the right thing. The blitz was coming. He spotted the man, hit him quickly, but he had no chance with Bell coming, number 25, from the right side. He couldn't see him, and boy, did he take a shot. Bum Phillips must have had a heart attack when he saw that.
Stabler has taken a few licks in his career, that is for sure.
Holding, number 62, offense, still third down.
John Hill, the center, is charged with the holding infraction.
Okay, you're going to see the blitz coming. There's Jeff Fisher, 24, coming. They pick him up, but from the backside, he'll come from the left of the screen right after Stabler gets rid of it. Boom! He takes the hit from Todd Bell.
Hokie Gaijan has come into the game for the first time as the lone running back. First-year man out of LSU, spent last season on injured reserve. Gaijan, and they give it to Gaijan, and he goes straight ahead, picking up about 5 yards. Still short of the original line of scrimmage.
We're going to have a field goal attempt. Tony Fritsch back with his old boss.
So we look at the Bears defensively as they have stopped the Saints, at least forced them into the field goal circumstance. It'll be a 40-yard try for Tony Fritsch. And there are his numbers from a long career. And Fritsch has kicked it through from 40 yards away. Tony Fritsch, in his first game as a New Orleans Saint, has come up with a field goal, and the Saints have taken a 10-0 lead. We have 2:34 remaining in the third quarter. Ertzleben kicks it off for the New Orleans Saints. Watts in the end zone will not bring it out for the Bears. And New Orleans taking the interception back 62 yards in 8 plays. A 40-yard field goal by Fritsch, making it 10-0. Elsewhere, the Jets leading New England 17-7. They're in the third period.
Kansas City still leads San Diego. That game is 16-7 in the third quarter. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, 10-10 third quarter.
Jim McMahon continues at quarterback for the Bears on first down from their own 20-yard line. We have 2:28 to go here in the third period. 10-0 New Orleans lead. Nagel and margin to wide receivers, flags everywhere before the ball is snapped.
There are flags on the play.
Because the whistle blew and they didn't allow the play to go
snap.
off, you got to assume it's going to go against the Bears.
Looks like Dan Neal.
He must have moved the ball slightly. And Dan Neal is arguing. He said illegal snap, so I think what he's referring to is that he moved the ball too much and made the defense come across the line of scrimmage. As Pittsburgh, the Steelers have taken the lead over Cincinnati after their Monday night game where they beat the Dallas Cowboys, so maybe the Steelers are back.
Bradshaw to Cunningham for that go-ahead touchdown. First and 15 for the Bears, and there's pressure on McMahon. The screen to Payton. Payton gets away from one tackler, turning it upfield with some balance, and gets back over the original line of scrimmage, knocked out of bounds at the 22. Kovac, the man to get him. It'll bring up second down and 9 or 10 to go. We'll see where they spot it.
Jim McMahon, who was recently married right before he came to training camp from Utah.
And he did get back just to the original line of scrimmage. Second and 10 for the Bears.
He went on a honeymoon and reported, after coming off a honeymoon, reported to camp the next day.
Well, there's a dedicated football player. Wide throw set for the Bears, and McMahon in the pocket runs out of time. He is dropped by Ricky Jackson and Bruce Clark. So the problems of a week ago in trying to defend for the passer against the rushing defense continue here today for Chicago, as Ricky Jackson, who can apply that kind of pressure, got in there along with Bruce Clark, the defensive end, who was the #1 pick of the Packers in 1980, but went up to Toronto of the Canadian Football League, and the Saints acquired his rights, and they put him right in a starting role.
Tough call for the Bears. That was a big play for the Saints because they have the Bears third and long, very long, way back at their own 10.5-yard line. It gives the defense a lot of leeway. A timeout called by the Bears. Some confusion on the play as McMahon's going to come to the sidelines. He figured it was a critical situation. He wanted no mistakes, and this could cost the Bears at the end of the game, the timeout.
The score remains the Saints 10-0. 2 for 8 in this all-important category of converting on third down, and they are 3rd and 19 from their own 11-yard line with young Jim McMahon in the shotgun now. Has the play from the sidelines. They're taking that timeout.
And the Saints are going to give him that short pass if they want it. They're playing way downfield.
He's got lots of time, and he overthrows everybody. Intended for Moorhead, and it went off the fingertips of the safety Watlet. They had a lot of coverage back there in that obvious deep passing situation. So the Bears will have to punt again as we look at Emory Moorhead, and the Bears got to be very frustrated at their lack of offense. Parsons in to kick. Back at the 49-yard line, awaiting it is Jeff Roach. And Parsons has to stand in his end zone here. See if the Saints get a rush on. The Saints lead it 10-0. Long count by Parsons again. Gets a good kick away. That is 48. Roach eludes the first tackler and squirms forward over the 40-yard line. So New Orleans in good field position here. Brian Bashnagel pulled him down at the 40. But New Orleans in Bears territory with 1:23 remaining in the third quarter.
A couple bad games.
Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris as we look at Mike Ditka, the Bears rookie coach, on the sideline. And he was frustrated last week by a lack of offense in Detroit, and he certainly has the same feelings thus far today. 1:23 remaining in the third quarter. Saints first down from the Bears 40. This is Jimmy Rogers, and Rogers eludes a tackler and takes it upfield close to a first down into the 30-yard line of the Bears, where Dan Hampton ranged back to get him. Jimmy Rogers, no relation to George, a third-year man out of Oklahoma. Signed as a free agent 2 years ago out of the Canadian League. Has been a useful backup.
Like they have things like hamstring.
If things keep going like this for the Bears, Mike Ditka will be one coach that's rooting for a strike.
All right, Johnny. Well, we may have that. And if we have football next week, there's a big if, I guess. We'll find out tomorrow or Tuesday. There's Rogers again. You may see the Bears at San Francisco, some of you.
Jimmy Rogers carried.
Others of you will see Dallas and Minnesota. Hampton again with the tackle on Jimmy Rogers, with Henry Wachter getting in on it, the rookie from Nebraska.
Dan Hampton has had a super game. This has been, as you know, a defensive-oriented game. Both defenses have done well, but Hampton has played a spectacular game in there. He really has.
It is third and very short for the Saints, and the Bears rush in some more beef for the front line. And the gun sounds ending the third period here at Soldier Field, with the Saints apparently in control. That's the end of the third quarter with the score. The New Orleans Saints 10, the Chicago Bears nothing. We now Saints with the first down, pardon me, a third and very close to first down at the 30-yard line, have Rogers and Gaijon in the I formation. Gaijon the lead back. They're 1 for 9 turning it over. This is their best opportunity here of the football game. And diving in is Jimmy Rogers, and he has the first down. So the Saints in control and threatening again here in Bears territory. In come wide receivers Kenny Duckett and Andre Thompson.
A gain of 2. First and
Ken
10
Stabler,
Saints at the Bear 29.
quarterback, has had himself a pretty good afternoon. He is 11 for 14, 147 yards through 3 quarters of play. Saints have rushed for 116, most of that by Wayne Wilson. The Bears have only 43 yards rushing.
And they're going with their second-string backfield now, and they're doing okay.
Gaijon and Jimmy Rogers, of course, George Rogers at home with a hamstring pull. Jimmy Rogers battering his way for about 3 yards. Hampton, the right defensive tackle, number 99, made the stop. 10-0, New Orleans leads it. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris on this beautiful afternoon in Chicago. Next week, the Bears are in San Francisco. And that's, of course, provided there is not a strike. 2nd and 7. New Orleans driving again. They scored on their last possession, the field goal by Tony Fritz. I formation, double tight ends. Wide receiver set on the wing, and they give it to Jimmy Rogers. Cutting it back to the middle and running well. Stopped short of the first down, but got to about the 21 of the Bears before Fensick and Walterscheid, the safeties, converted.
By Fensick and Walterscheid.
Well, the Saints are doing a couple or 3 things that are important to them. They're eating up the fourth quarter with these runs, and are down in a situation where if they can score a touchdown, they can pretty much put this game away, or at least get a field goal out of it. Number 99, Dan Hampton. Let's take a look at him in the middle. Number 63, Brad Edelman blocking. And Hampton actually overran the play there, didn't he?
Yes, he did, but he's been very aggressive and very effective all day, so he can certainly be excused on that one. 3rd and 3, and here is Rogers, a diving tackle by the linebacker, Bruce Herron. Outstanding defensive play, and a big loss. All the way back to the line of scrimmage at the 31.
He will come to from the left of your screen as it gets by Hardy and just jams it up and makes a flying dive there and makes the tackle. Herron playing a lot more today because of the situation with Al Harris. So Herron plays on the 3-4 situation on their what they call their 46 defense. So that's a pretty big play for the Bears. Now 4th down and 9, no field goal. They figure it's too far for Fritsch?
I guess so. So they're going to go for it on 4th down. 3 wide receivers are in. Stabler rolling out left, looking for an open man, and he, broke, could not hold on. Now maybe that Leslie Frazier got a hand on the ball because that pass was right there. So credit Leslie Frazier with a good defensive play. Jeff Grote, the intended receiver. Frazier, number 21, the second-year man from Alcorn State.
And I think Stabler could have run right down the field here on this, but he doesn't like to run. But look at the room he has if he wants to.
Bum doesn't like him to run either.
No, but he saw a growth down the field. And let's see what Leslie Frazier did, number 21. Did he tick the ball away?
I think he must have.
Yes, he did. Excellent play.
So the Bears stop the Saints on this drive, and they will take over on downs at their own 28-yard line. And they have ample time to get something going. 12-0 front, looking for their first victory of the season. Mike Ditka in a similar situation, but he is down by 10. McMahon continues at quarterback, the rookie from BYU. Slot formation to the right. One setback is Payton. The pitch to him coming to the short side. And Nairn fighting off a blocker forces Payton out of bounds after a gain of 2.
The fans are getting a little restless here at Soldier Field. We're going to look at some scores now. Let's see what's happening around the NFL. What's the first one here? Dallas 14-7 over St. Louis. That game is now in the 3rd quarter. That game's being played in St. Louis. Look at the Raiders after beating the 49ers last week, now leading Atlanta 31-14 3rd quarter. Cleveland over Philadelphia 14-3. The AFC is off to a quick start against the NFC. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati 17-all.
McMahon under pressure and gets the ball off just as he was about to be dropped. Threw it at Matt Suey with Ricky Jackson applying the heat. And McMahon finding out what it's like to try and pass under trying circumstances. That'll be 3rd down.
The play comes in from the sideline, and it comes from Mike Ditka. Now, Bum Phillips doesn't call all the plays for the Saints unless it's a crucial play. He wants to know what's being called. But Ditka is sending in the plays. Everything that's called is the coach's responsibility. In this case, as far as the Bears are concerned, it's his call.
Out of the shotgun again. Payton alone setback, blocking, and McMahon runs out of time once more. Now he's got to run with it. He's over the line of scrimmage. Gets to the sidelines and out of bounds.
Not enough for a first down. The Bears are going to be forced to punt.
Saints again stopping the Bears rather easily. The last several defensive series for New Orleans, they have just dominated Chicago. Offensively, the Bears' problems are perhaps summed up in the statistic that belongs to Walter Payton. 8 carries for 20 yards. They haven't been able to get him the ball much. The Saints had the ball much of the first period. Then when the Bears were behind, they had to throw it. So Payton has seen not a great deal of action carrying the football. Parsons punt. Fair catch signaled by Grote at the 20-yard line. So New Orleans will be starting when they spot it at the 21 when we return here with 11:32 remaining in regulation time, and they lead it 10-0.
Chevrolet's gigantic factory-authorized year-end clearance ends this Wednesday. Don't miss your chance to save up to $900 on Cavaliers, $700 on Celebrities, $500 on Citations, up to $600 on Chevettes. Special factory-to-dealer allowances make it possible for Chevy dealers to pass on to
Louis 21-7. The Cardinals are always tough on Dallas and St. Louis. And Cleveland and Philadelphia, two contending playoff teams, 14-10. The Browns lead it. Here it is 10-0 New Orleans, and they have the ball. It is to Jimmy Rogers, number 41, and trying the right side, he got only a couple. Lenny Walterscheid coming up from safety to trip him up.
A moment ago, the fans got into unison yelling, strike, strike, strike. So they're kind of rubbing it in on the Chicago Bears.
Well, some wit and wisdom, at least being preserved by the crowd here as they are frustrated, as I'm sure Mike Ditka and his staff and all of the players on the Bears are, at their lack of ability to move the football. Saints fans looking in have got to feel pretty good about Stabler and company today. Defensively, the Saints were all a known quantity, and they've got 10 points on the board to lead this football game, and they ran out of time there. It would appear to be a delay of game penalty against the Saints.
I think Stabler was trying to check off or change the play at the line of scrimmage because he saw Gary Fensick right up there over the center, and it looked like the Bears were going to blitz, and he just took a little bit too much time to get the play off.
Delay, number 16, offense, still second down.
Well, Archie Manning, now a Houston Oiler, hard to believe, I'm sure, for New Orleans fans. Trade the other day for Leon Gray, and Phillips' rationale saying it wasn't a question of not being able to play quarterback. It was that he couldn't play left tackle. They needed help in the offensive line. They think they've got it. Stabler apparently was his choice as the better of the two quarterbacks at this stage. And, of course, they've got Dave Wilson as the man of the future there. Wayne Wilson pulled down from behind after a gain of only a couple. Second and 15, and Hampton making the hit. So it'll be third down and about 13, maybe 14 still to go for the New Orleans Saints.
Now this will be a big play for New Orleans because throwing, trying to make the first down this deep in your own territory, you get a quick turnover, and the Bears are right back in the game. So let's see what Stabler does.
We saw Jim McMahon conferring with Mike Ditka on the Bears sideline, getting ready for the next offensive series, and Stabler up the sideline, and he overthrows the intended receiver, Kenny Duckett. Reuben Henderson on the coverage, and Bruce Herron blitzing, putting a little hurrying time on Stabler. Last week when Stabler came back in after Manning had been in the game briefly, he said to his lineman, we can do some business here against the Cardinals if you just slow them down some. They've been slowing them down better today.
There was a penalty against the Saints, but the Bears refused it, forcing New Orleans to punt. But punting has been one of the Saints' strong points today. In fact, the first two games, right? Boy, is he punting the heck out of that ball.
Yes, he is. Outstanding. So Erxleben will be standing back inside his 5. Dennis Gentry at the 45 of the Bears. You just get the feeling that one of these times this young man's going to make a big play on a punt.
Well, when you have that single safety, a good punter will punt away from him, make him run towards the sideline to field it. Well, this one's not so good.
Taken right at midfield, and Gentry trying to get some blocking and doesn't find it. He is dropped right at the midfield stripe. First man there was tackle Stan Brock, number 67. So the Bears with pretty good field position. They're inside the 50-yard line, and they'll have it there when we come back. Bears have the football. 9:50 to play. They're down only by 10-0. But they've got to put some offense together to make use of this field position. First down at the midfield stripe. And the quarterback in the I formation. They have Peyton and Suey. Moorhead, the tight end, set on the wing, goes in motion. McMahon. The man open, and it is incomplete for Emery Moorhead. Pass underthrown, and Moorhead went down trying to scoop it off the carpet, but not able to make the completion.
That was the same play that he made the completion on in the first half, and he was open. He had found the zone in between all the New Orleans defenders, but the pass was a little bit short. Emery Moorhead.
Robin Earl comes in for Moorhead, delivering the play to McMahon. Second down.
There's the almost catch, and you can see that it did hit the turf. Good call by the officials.
And on second down, stumbled setting up. Now for Marjoram, and it's broken up. Number 29, Rodney Lewis. Make it number 25, Johnny Poe. Right cornerback making the knockdown on the play.
And now the Saints go to their nickel defense. Boy, you know, they've got a shutout going. That's tough to do in the NFL.
Third down coming up.
Here's the near interception.
Johnny Poe, second-year man from Missouri. Behind him, they have number 29, Rodney Lewis, a rookie from Nebraska, has yet to see action except on the specials, and they like him too. He was their third choice this year. So they're building. McMahon has lots of time, and Bashnagel, and what a hit by Poe on Bashnagel. Bashnagel, the ball was there. He certainly would have made the catch, but Johnny Poe absolutely blistered him, similar to Bensick against David Hill last week in the Detroit game.
Boy, that was a hit. That's typical of what the New Orleans defense has been doing the first couple of games of this season. Bashnagel's up and around, took a hit. He always seems to get up when he gets hit. Let's take a look at the hit. He's got to watch for the ball, and he had it, and boy, Poe just knocked the ball loose and jolted Bashnagel, and that's what the NFL, I guess, is all about. Sometimes you wonder.
Really got the shoulder in there with a lot of impact. Parsons standing at his 35, so the Saints again stop the Bears, and they'll have the ball with 9:29 on the clock.
It's off the side of his foot.
Out of bounds outside the 20-yard line. They're going to spot it at the 23 of the New Orleans Saints. And so the Saints will start from there when we return. A 26-yard punt by Parsons. And we've got 9:22 to go with the Saints holding it 10-0 that John Meekum, the Saints owner, gave the organization last year. Real Texas-style belt buckles at St. New Orleans Saints. Here's Jimmy Rogers. Rogers gets to the 25-yard line for a gain of 3. Hartenstein, number 73, and Otis Wilson, number 55, combine on the tackle. The Saints have had the ball most of the day. Our statistician Dick Bossick tells us that the Bears' longest possession has been only 3 minutes and 37 seconds. 5 times they've kept the ball less than a minute at a time. 2nd and 7. Rogers cutting it back, running hard, but shut down after a gain of 3. Dan Hampton and Steve McMichael on the tackle. Well, elsewhere, Kansas City leading San Diego now 19-12. A field goal by Rolf Benerschke from 50 yards away has put them within a touchdown. Jets continue to dominate New England, 24-7. Trying to get even at 1-1 after the loss to Miami. That's quite a game there. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh in the AFC Central.
Yeah, it's now 20-17 Cincinnati in the 4th quarter.
Hampton with that last tackle, Johnny, has 11 on the day. He's been certainly a stellar standout on that defensive front.
New Orleans, first timeout this half.
Timeout called by the Saints here on 3rd and 4. And again, evidently Stabler probably trying to check something off and then deciding, heck, I'm going to run out of time. I better go and talk it over with Mum here, make sure we got the right play to keep this ball, which is what they've done effectively. Well, it's been a long afternoon for the offense. 3rd down and 4. New Orleans in motion back to the ball.
Blitz.
And Stabler quickly out to Wilson, who could not hold on. Bruce Herron was out there on the coverage on Wilson and probably would have stopped him right away. Jeff Fisher provided the blitzing action from the Bears secondary.
Stabler was lucky to get that one off. You see 24, Fisher coming on him as Wilson goes out. If Wilson catches the ball, they got a chance to get some yards, but he put those fingers out there instead of bringing it into the chest. Bruce Herron there on the coverage, but he had to cover him all over the field, so could have been a good play had he dodged that one tackler.
So another 4th down. Russell Erxleben hunting for the 7th time today. Gentry back at his own 31 for the Bears.
Real high.
Boy, he really does elevate them. Bearcat signaled by Gentry. Now he's got to cover that ball when he drops it. And he had to dive back to the 25
That's the risk that the Bears have when Dennis Gentry is back there, because he has a tendency sometimes to turn sideways when he catches the punt rather than stand stationary in front of it, and he kind of lost it and tried to catch it with his hands to his side, and you have more of a propensity to fumble on that.
McMahon on first down, complete to Suey, had to dig that off the carpet, and Suey picks up about 5 yards before he is swarmed under, and leading the attack was Dennis Winston, followed by Russell Gary. Gary's had a fine game defensively for the New Orleans Saints today.
Bob Avellini was 3 for 9. Vince Evans was 2 for 4, and McMahon is now 5 for 12. So overall, the Bears are 10 for 25 in the passing department, sacked 4 times by the Saints.
They don't have another quarterback they can run in there either. 2nd and 4. Good move by McMahon away from the rush on Reggie Lewis. Got the pass complete, but it'll be short of the first down. A flag on the play, however.
Well, it looks like there's something around the tackle that they're going to call. Will it be face mask? Did he signal face mask? I missed that.
Not sure about what the preliminary signal was. Moorhead made the catch short of the first down yardage, but the penalty will give the Bears first down. And it is a 5-yard penalty, so that is a good guess. We'll find out from Dick Jorgensen.
43.
Indeed. Well,
here we go. We'll get the call.
5-yard face mask foul. Number 52, defense, first down.
now the penalty yardage gave him the first down. You don't get an automatic first down anymore on this play.
Okay, it's Kovac. He's 52 at the left of your screen as Moorhead makes the tackle. I mean the reception. And then he's there goes the hand on there, and it's ruled well, that's pretty much of a jerk there. That's a pretty good call.
All right, McMahon complete to Marjoram, and he dropped the ball. It's incomplete. 3 guys converged on Marjoram, and he could not hold on. He had it until he landed on his backside, and with that, all that impact in the traffic, Kenny Marjoram could not hold on. Kovac and Watlett really got a good hit on him.
Okay, let's watch Jim McMahon. Let's watch his form. Young quarterback set all these records. Good pass protection. Jeff Williams there with a nice block along with Dan Neal. Now here comes the good play by the Saints defense. They know what to do when a receiver gets the ball, and you got to hit him and hope the ball comes loose.
Watlett and Poe get on him, and now they get the rush on and drop him back at the 32-yard line.
You got to get 1/3 of a sack for 3 different men. They were all there.
They're all linebackers too. Winston, Nairn, and Kovac, and really this Saints defense has been very, very impressive all day long today. There's the leader of that defense, Jim Kovac, 4-year man from Kansas. So it is 3rd down.
Now they're chanting, strike, strike. That's got to be disheartening for the football players down on the field.
3rd down and 19. Out of the shotgun, McMahon completes it. Walter Payton. Oh, Payton is knocked out of bounds by a pair of Saints. Number 51, Whitney Paul, and John Krim in as an extra defensive back, the rookie from Notre Dame. John Krim and his teammate Dave Waymer, a pair of fighting Irish, must have enjoyed last night's victory over Michigan. I know I did. And you picked the Fighting Irish too, didn't you, on your sportscast?
Yes, I did.
Well done. 4th down.
Payton now has 5 receptions for 42 yards. He is quietly catching a lot of passes over the years.
Oh, big punt by Parsons. Excellent punt. Fair catch signal by Grove back at the 5-yard line. 6:10 remaining here now in this 4th period of play. 47-yard punt by Parsons.
It's come down to a situation as far as the Saints are concerned. They're going to try and eat up some more time. It's going to be the Bear defense that has to create the break for the Chicago Bears, and the Saints are aware of that, and they're going to try and go for no mistakes, simplified situation here on the 5-yard line.
Well, I
don't think Stabler would attempt to pass on 1st or 2nd, would he?
Cincinnati and Pittsburgh are now tied at 20 in the 4th quarter. Dallas in front of St. Louis 24-7 now for the Cowboys. Out of the I formation. Wayne Wilson had a good hole, and then it shut down after he picked up 5. And it was Lenny Walderscheid who made the hit on it. Well, the Cowboys, who are doing it to St. Louis today, will be playing the Minnesota Vikings if there is NFL action next week. And you can start it off with the NFL today and say either that game or the Bears at San Francisco. Check the local listings for the game and time in your area. Second and a long 5 for the Saints. Again, it's Wayne Wilson. Wilson has the first down, it would appear, depending on where they mark it. He'll be very close. Good piece of running and some good blocking for him. Singletary making the tackle. That's got to make Wilson about a 100-yard man today.
And I think it is enough for the first down. And Wilson has done a nice job filling in for George Rogers. You got to give him a lot of credit.
He's up to 96 yards. Wayne Wilson, fourth-year man from Shepherd College in West Virginia.
A gain of 7.
We mentioned he put on close to 15 pounds over the off season, and he is a bigger, stronger guy, and apparently hasn't lost any speed.
First and 10 Saints, their own 16.
And teamed with George Rogers when he returns, they're going to have themselves a fancy pair of running backs. And evidently the word is now he has crossed the 100-yard mark to 103. 103-yard day for Wayne Wilson. Out of the eye. They give it to Wilson again, and the Bears stop him at the line of scrimmage this time. Otis Wilson, the linebacker, number 55. And at the bottom of that stack, again, Dan Hampton and McMichael.
Wayne Wilson brought down by McMichael.
Hampton has just been outstanding. He's been around the ball every play and has led the team in tackles this afternoon.
I'd say that even though Stabler came back just a couple of weeks ago, he's in pretty good shape. He has taken, I would say, 3 or 4 pretty good hits from the Bears, gotten up every time, and that's, of course, was the big worry for Bum Phillips. The Stabler came a little bit overweight.
They've got Dave Wilson and Bobby Scott on injured reserve, and Edo Merkins, who they have confidence in as a backup quarterback. Wilson trying to get wide left, and when he gets a head of steam on, he gets moving along at a pretty good pace. Reuben Henderson forced him out of bounds, and Henderson is slow to get up.
Now he's getting up. It looks up as you look at Reuben Henderson out of San Diego State for the Saints, I should say. Reuben Henderson coming out. I don't know the nature of the injury, but it looks like, I don't know. What does it look like to you, Tim?
Well, I don't want to speculate. It looked like he landed on his shoulder or his arm when he dove at Wilson trying to drive him out. It'll be third and less than a yard. Henderson being assisted off to the Bears bench
by the team doctor, Fassier, and Fred Cato, the trainer. Here's the last play. Let's take a look at Henderson's number 20 in on the tackle. And Wilson puts his shoulder down. I think he got dinged in the head a little bit. I think that's it. They collided helmets.
Third and move, and it looked like Tyler, Tucson Tyler, trying to get that first down yardage, and quite a pile up there. Everybody on the Bears front getting a piece of the action. Did they stop him? We'll wait and find out from the official.
Was that Singletary that came flying up and over? He got back and took his guess as to where they were going to run, and he looked like a ball carrier going the other way.
And Tyler managed to squeeze in for the first down. So that's a bigger play than it might appear, because the clock is everything now for New Orleans. They've got themselves a 10-point margin, and they have now got themselves another first down.
Singletary took the defensive signal in, gave it to the rest of the defense, and now they're going to have to buckle down because it's first down, 3 minutes 51, 3 minutes and 50 seconds left in this game.
A lot of people didn't expect to see Ken Stabler in football this year, and here he is with Archie Manning now gone to Houston. The job is Stabler's. Dave Wilson gone for the year, the quarterback of the future, and Stabler looks like he's leading them to their first victory today. Tucson Tyler digging ahead for about 5 yards. Gary Fensick and Terry Schmidt.
That's pretty good running because the Bears know they're going to run the ball, and they're jamming up in the middle, and the Saints are still getting yardage there. So the the offensive line of New Orleans, which has been subject to a little bit of ridicule the last week or so, has done a pretty good job in there.
Well, 2 rookies in Edelman. They really like his prospects. The number 2 pick from Missouri and Louis Oubre from Oklahoma. And, of course, the great veteran Stan Brock. You put Gray in there in the next week or 2, and if the kids can play well, then all of a sudden might be a different football team. Wayne Wilson. Looks like he has the first down. Hampton again is in on it with Lenny Walderscheid, and another first down as the Saints start to grind it out against the Bears. And using up the clock, they're down to 2:40 and counting. A shutout for that Saints defense would certainly give those young people a lift. 20-20 in overtime. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Philadelphia's moved ahead of Cleveland. Another dogfight just by 3, 17-14. Wilson again. Nice running by Wilson. Has a first down, and he's inside the midfield stripes of the Bears' 43-yard line.
Some of those Bear defenders in that line are overrunning the play, and they're cutting back against the grain there, and Wilson's doing a real good job of that.
Johnny,
he breaks the tackle.
Defense has got to be awful tired, too.
Right. Now watch him. See, he cuts back against the flow, and Wachter, 75, is going to miss the tackle here, and then Wilson puts a move on Terry Schmidt. Great individual running, but the secret for this Saints running game has been to run back against the grain with a couple of steps right, with the line action, and then just cutting back against it. Wayne Wilson, 32 carries, 136 yards.
Jimmy Rogers has come in to give Wilson a well-deserved rest. And speaking of well-deserved rest, the Bears defense certainly could use one. They're going to be a tired bunch when this game's over. Jimmy Rogers gets about a yard. The Saints have had the ball most of the football game, as the Bears offense has just been unable to keep the ball moving. Well, a signal for the 2-minute warning here. That's what we have remaining at Soldier Field in Chicago, and much of the crowd is already left. The score stands: New Orleans 10, the Bears nothing. Working hard on the sidelines for the Chicago Bears, but they've only got 2 minutes to try and cheer their team on to what would now be a somewhat miraculous comeback based on the evidence presented thus far by a lethargic Chicago offense. A good job by the defense again today, and but most of the credit must go to the New Orleans Saints, because it has been their afternoon. They have dominated this football game from the outset, even though they have only 10 points. They have been in control. 2nd and 9. New Orleans with the ball. Toussaint Tyler picks up about a yard and a half over the 40-yard line.
Timeout.
Chicago.
Chicago.
Bears take a timeout.
Second timeout this half.
And they've got one more. That gets some boos from the crowd, who evidently would have preferred that they don't bother taking them at this juncture. Well, tomorrow night, I guess we'll find out whether there's going to be a strike or not. Got next weekend off anyway, Johnny. I'm kind of looking forward to that. I'm sure football fans will be disappointed if there's no football. The 49ers at Denver, if there is football, will be seen by a lot of the game that you'll see if football is played. 3rd down. On the 40-yard line as play is underway again. Following the Bears timeout, Wayne Wilson has been the main man today. Picks up about 2 more.
The Bears have taken their final timeout.
Chicago, 3rd timeout this half.
4th down coming up for the Saints when the timeout is completed. And they are bringing their punting unit on the field. 1:46 on the clock. Young Jim McMahon, who followed the starter Bob Avellini, the reliever Vince Evans, finishing up for the Bears today and getting his first taste of regular season NFL action. Did not throw the ball real well, I didn't think, Johnny, and one must assume that perhaps his shoulder's still bothering him. And, you know, it would be nice for Mike Ditka to be coming over here with a real healthy, reliable starting quarterback. Dallas, his old team, doing it to St. Louis 24-7 in the 4th period.
Cleveland leads Philadelphia in the 4th quarter, 21-17. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, overtime, 20-20.
Gentry is deep for the Bears.
The Jets really pouring it to New England, 31-7. Final.
Erxleben into punt for the Saints. Angling for the corner.
It's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to bounce into the end zone and will be a touchback. 1:36 to play in the football game. Bears will start from their 20. The Los Angeles Raiders 31. The Atlanta Falcons 14 in the fourth quarter. Kansas City still ahead of San Diego 19-12. And here it remains 10-0 for the Saints.
Well, they have to go 80 yards. They have 1:36, and they have to score twice. I would say it's a big job for the Bears, especially a young rookie quarterback playing his first regular season NFL game.
Watts and Marjoram are the wide receivers. Peyton and Suey in the pro set with the shotgun formation. And the pass to Suey out of the backfield has first down and a couple of more. Pickup of 13 to the 32-yard line.
They can't stop the clock.
Hurry up offense with 1:22. McMahon.
What was that one?
Tight end Moorhead coming back with a short pass, and I'm not sure what it was, but
It was right in the middle of all the defensive rushers.
103 and counting.
They got to get some people down the field and crossing ends and stuff. Get some people the ball on the run. That's when you're down 10-0.
Nice catch, but out of bounds, incomplete. Marjoram one-handing it off a deflection. That stops the clock with 48 seconds remaining.
McMahon to Marjoram, ruled out of bounds.
So the Bears have a third. Is it a third down situation or fourth?
No, it's third down.
Third down.
Third down. Bashnagel brings the play in for McMahon.
3rd and 16 at the 27.
I must admit that the Bears do look disoriented, don't you think? There just doesn't seem to be a consistency of play call, play situation.
They've got three wide receivers out to the right side. Peyton, the lone running back.
There it is.
McMahon eluding the rushers, hits Ricky Watts in the middle, and he is dropped right at midfield by Russell Gary. 36 seconds. Time ticking. Bears would love to get something in the end zone, even if they're going to lose this football game, not to be shut out. McMahon. Deep sideline, and that's incomplete. Intended for Ricky Watts. And that stops the clock with 18 seconds left.
Well, the New Orleans Saints have this game wrapped up any way you look at it. They have 3 men down at about the 15-yard line. There's no way you're going to get it unless you have the alley-oop, but you got to try and get somebody the ball on the run. When you're down 10-0, you just can't throw 5-yard passes or outs or stuff like that when you get in this situation.
Saints have not given the Bears anything defensively all day today, and even now in this circumstance, we're not making it easy for them, but they certainly have done an outstanding job defensively. It's not just reflected in the fact they shut them out, it's just that they shut them down totally. McMahon, and that is complete to Brian Bashnagel to the 35-yard line. 8 seconds left. Will they get one more in? They'll have to hurry.
I don't think so.
Well, there it goes. That's it. It is all over. And the Bears are left rather forlornly at the 35-yard line of the Saints with time running out. And the New Orleans Saints
label this one the Soldier Field Nightmare. Bum Phillips and the New Orleans Saints 10. Mike Ditka and the Chicago Bears nothing. Ditka and company dropping to 0-2. Now you're with Mike as he departed the playing surface at Soldier Field today, subjected to almost unbearable verbal abuse. You had to bleed for the guy.
To me, this is the most embarrassing day of my life, and it's embarrassing for my family, and it's embarrassing for the Chicago Bears organization. the fans, everybody. And it's embarrassing for my players.
What did Mike Ditka say to this football team in the locker room when the ball game was over?
He just said, man, you got to want to play ball. You know, and that's what it takes. You have to want to play. And I sure as hell want to play. That's all I can say. All this politics crap that's going on, you know, work too hard. And the season's going, I don't know, I just want to play ball.
Not very pretty. Now, in winning today, New Orleans posted its first shutout since they blanked the Atlanta Falcons way back in 1976. Game action. We're in the first period. Running back Wayne Wilson, 33 carries for 138 yards. Ground out 20 yards on this sequence right up the middle, finally brought down by Terry Schmidt. Moments later, the game's only touchdown. The veteran left-hander Kenny the Snake Stabler throwing to Larry Hardy. New Orleans led 7-0. Bob Avellini failed to generate any Bear offense in the first half. He was exiled to the bench and was not happy about it.
Well, it was a quick hook, wasn't it? You know, evidently Mike Ditka saw something I was doing wrong out there, and that's it. That's part of the game.
So, exit Bob Avellini, enter Vince Evans, and the Bear offense continued to sputter. Evans firing here to Ken Marjoram. Marjoram couldn't find the handle. The ball finally picked off by Rob Nairn. On the Bears' next possession, Evans was intercepted again, this time by Russell Gary, and Evans, like Avellini, was very dismayed.
I was quite surprised to be lifted from the game and not knowing that I was going back in the second half. I did make a couple of mistakes in the first half, but, you know, again, I've done that all my career of playing, but yet I think that I've had my hand in my share or a share of big plays, and I just don't think that there's enough, that the head coach has enough confidence in me to leave me in there and just, you know that things are going to happen.
The desperate game of musical chairs continued. Jim McMahon played the entire second half, completing 12 of 22 for 131 yards. But no points, and McMahon was also sacked 4 times for 33 yards. But give New Orleans credit. They come to play, especially in the defensive secondary. Look at Johnny Poe autographing Brian Bashnagel. As for the game's final points, they came on this 40-yard field goal by former Houston Oiler Tony Fritsch. Final at Soldier Field, the Bears falling to New Orleans 10-0. The Bear offensive line was anything but major league. The fact is, it was an offensive line that was pathetic. It was also an offensive line that was really nothing more than a punching bag for the Saints. Bear pass blocking was better today than it was a week ago at Pontiac against Monty Clark's Detroit Lions. Nevertheless, there were breakdowns. An example here. Lineman Jeff Williams can't contain New Orleans linebacker Ricky Jackson, and the young quarterback Jim McMahon had to eat the football.
We improved our pass protection, but we totally forgot how to run block. And you know, maybe the switch to quarterbacks has a little to do with the cohesiveness. No, but like I said earlier, we just got to get our heads out of our butt and go into the line.
There have been all too many afternoons of futility for the Chicago Bears in Soldier Field in recent years. Today, the Bears outmanned, outgunned, and embarrassed by the New Orleans Saints. Walter Payton was smothered by frustration and by the New Orleans defense. Here, number 81, Robin Earl fails to complete a block, and Payton, who had just 20 yards on the day, stopped for no gain. Frustration for Ditka.
Well, we didn't block very well on the run. That was the main thing. I thought we could run the football on them, and we didn't. You know, St. Louis didn't either, but I really feel that we're better in St. Louis, so I said we could run it on them, but it didn't look very good.
We've got to pass protect. We've got to open up the holes for the running backs, and why it's not getting done, you know, is it could be a lack of concentration. You know, I don't know, guys just are maybe not putting out enough, but you know, we have guys on this team who can do the job, and it's just a matter of doing it.
Now off the grid, the National Football League Players Executive Committee due to take that strike vote in New York City tomorrow. We're looking at a possible walkout on Tuesday. Fan Day, we're derisively chanting strike, strike, strike. And it hurt defensive back Gary Fensick to hear the mockery.
I feel bad. I mean, I feel really bad. I don't want to go on strike, and I want to bring a product that they're going to be proud of, and I'm sure Mike Ditka and everyone else does too, but, you know, we're not doing it right now, and I think they have the right to voice their opinion.
Now, in other NFL play, let's go to Pittsburgh.
Bears lost 10-0 to New Orleans Saints in front of a hostile horde in Soldier Field. Mike Ditka offered no excuses for his team. In fact, Ditka called this the most embarrassing, humiliating loss of his career, and he blasted some of his players for not giving their full effort. Matter of fact, Jim McMahon will be starting next week at quarterback, but Kenny Stabler of the Saints did it right off the bat, drove his team 80 yards on the opening possession of the game. That one to Kenny Duckett brings him within reach, and then 10 yards to Larry Hardy for the only touchdown of the game, and there it is. Jim Brady, the press secretary, was there saying, come on, the Bears are going to come back. He'll throw the ball out at the Cubs game tomorrow. Hopefully he'll have better luck than the Bears did today. Look at this. After Bob Avellini was sacked and taken out, here's Vince Evans coming in, had 2 quick interceptions. Ditka says, get out of there, bring in Jim McMahon. Well, McMahon was 12 for 22 and an interception, but he passed for 131 yards. So if there is football next week, he will start. Here he is on the only drive. He got the Bears inside Saints territory. Walter Payton only had 20 yards rushing, but there they pick up a big gainer on the pass. However, here's the one interception that killed him, and so the Bears go off the field a loser, 10-0, 0-2, and the Players Union picked up some cynical support from Bears fans at the end. Just listen.
A gain of 1, first and 10, but they're up 27.
We're 0-2 right now, but we've got some injuries, and we've got some places that we've got to fill up in our offensive team, and strictly because of those injuries. And maybe some time off would help our team. And I'm not saying that we're going to be going on strike next week, but if it did come down to that, then maybe to look at it positively, it could help this football team.
Der Stink.
Who's Der Stink?
The whole guy's in a dark outfit. No good.
I like napping at Soldiers Field. It's a wonderful way to catch the sun, fresh air, beer, hot dogs. Wake up every half hour and check the scoreboard. There's nothing there.
It's not going to get any easier. It's going to get a lot tougher. People are going to continue to pressure us and put the pressure on us when they see that we can't handle it. And we haven't handled it very well.
Things are bad when they get on the mascot.
Well, that's all right. Thank God we don't have no snowballs this year. Otherwise, I'd probably get boned.
Well, if the players do decide to strike tomorrow, it's just going to be too bad that this will have to be the game by which we remember the Bears until the strike is over. Let's take a look now at some of the scores around the NFL.
And their fans. The Bears lost to the Saints today 10-0. It was the first Saints shutout on defense in 88 games. As a result, the Bears are now 0-2. And worse than that, if the NFL doesn't go out on strike next week, well, the Bears will have to play another 0-2 team, the Super Bowl champion 49ers. That'll be no honeymoon. The Saints drove 80 yards in the opening series, and they did it without all-pro running back George Rogers. Wayne Wilson here, 138 yards, 33 carries, 23 yards there. And Kenny Stabler passed for 41 yards on the drive. Here to Larry Hardy for the only touchdown of the day. Saints lead 7-0. The Bears' offense looked like the old days for much of this day. Give the ball to Walter Payton, see what he can do. Here he does it for 10 yards with a great stiff arm on the sideline. However, this drive was like the old days, too. 3 Payton runs and 2 incompletions, and after a while, the Saints were waiting for Walter. And John Rivetto tried and missed the only field goal chance the Bears had today. It was their only real scoring chance, too, wide from 53 yards. The news wasn't all bad, especially on defense. Dan Hampton looked great with the sack here of Stabler. However, of course, the Saints had 5 sacks of their own. Maybe that's why all 3 quarterbacks played today. Jim McMahon came in late in the game and moved the team when he found Walter Payton here for 21 yards. Word is McMahon is the man to quarterback the Bears next week. But even McMahon had no luck in moving the Bears with any consistency. Here, McMahon with a shaky pass in traffic. Dennis Winston picks it off, and that kills another Bear drive. As far as recycling Kenny Stabler, at least today it looked like a good idea, and this, for all the worlds, looked like the old days. 48 yards from Kenny to Andra Thompson. Tony Frisch then finished off the scoring for the Saints today with a field goal. It was a terrible day for the Bears. The Saints beat them 10-0. The real Bears fans are hoping there is no strike next week. The Bears have much to prove. If you're unhappy, I guarantee you are not alone. What you're about to see is a real great piece of video. It's not a very pleasant moment for Coach Mike Ditka, but it shows the kind of character the man has. He literally wore his heart on his shirt sleeve after the game. Johnny Morris asked him for his impression of the loss to the Saints.
My feelings one of humiliation. I've never been humiliated like this in my life as a player or assistant coach or as a coach or as a father or anything. I'm humiliated, and I take the blame because the offense didn't score any points, but it's too easy to leave it go at that I'll take the blame for it. You know, we're all paid to do a job, you know, and a lot of people probably feel that maybe I don't do my job is the way they would expect. The things we were trying to do going into the game, we explained to them. We had to move the ball on the ground. We had to push some people off the ball. We pushed nobody, nowhere.
You can say that again. Well, clearly Coach Ditka was burned by the results of the game, but if you heard the fans booing and chanting for a strike, you know there was lots of dissatisfaction at Soldier Field today. Johnny Morris has more from the scene of today's crimes.
So the stands at Soldier Field are empty, and they may be empty for quite a while if that strike situation does develop. The Bears are now 0-2, and possibly a strike might help because the offense can't seem to get untracked. More importantly, Mike Ditka's philosophy of musical chairs at quarterback is beginning to backfire.
I think I missed 2 passes that I really should have hit, and I overthrew them. I look at other games, and quarterbacks miss them too, but they have the chance to come back and try them again. And evidently, Ditka didn't have the confidence in me to come back, and, you know, that's his prerogative. He's the head coach. He thought, you know, to win this game, the best thing to do was to take me out of there.
I don't think that I had a great opportunity to show what I could do out there, and I think that I did make a couple of mistakes, but by the same token, you know, I've done that pretty much all my career when I've been playing. I haven't done everything perfectly, but, you know, I've had the capability of coming back and having a hand in making some big plays also. And I just wish that, you know, Coach Ditka could have a little bit more confidence in me.
Apparently, Ditka has most of his confidence in rookie quarterback Jim McMahon. McMahon didn't move the Bears to score, but they did move, and McMahon's happy with the chance to start.
Sometimes you just need a change, and maybe that change next week could be the, you know, could be the thing to get us going.
Well, anyway, it was a big day in the end. Well,